I haven't been addressing you for a while, I think since the elections, but we did a press conference that we just update you about our position, global events, and certainly the country. So I'm going to start with the country. Zimbabwe is becoming now a tragedy. It's a tragedy of stories, and it's unfortunate that it has come to this end. Where one of our leading leaders, which is Advocate Chamisa, has decided, I haven't read the full statement, but certainly there is news going out that he is leaving Triple C, possibly to form a new party. And this is really because of all the frustrations that has happened in the country. I also want to say, for me, it was necessary that, after disputed elections by certain sections of the society, that we had 12 MPs that were recalled. I believe that, for the progress of the country, for the unity of the country, there were, other avenues, I think those interested in controlling power would have taken to ensure that there is stability in the country, because one of the key issues for any country to progress is that there must be political stability, and there must be leadership, and there must be continuity. So this is really just obviously, as I said to you, one of the many tragedies that have continued to haunt our country, where as a people, we are not able to say, what is in the best interest of the country? What is it we can do? So I want to wish Advocate Chamisa well in his endeavors, whatever he does. But certainly, as I said to you, it is just a tragedy. But one of the key issues also I wanted to raise in terms of that is just really the leadership. That, when you look at other countries that are successful, you do see that, there is a foreign policy that is standard. There is a national agenda that continues, to be able to be followed by whoever leader that is there. We need to make sure that as a country we define what our national agenda is, in particular developmental agendas and social agendas. What is important really is that, are the people of Zimbabwe happy? Are the people of Zimbabwe being able to feed themselves? So Zimbabwe, 44 years after independence, still can't feed itself. We still on the margins of a failed state, a state that does not have an airline, a state that does not have a trading currency that is globally accepted, a state that can't feed its people. In the sense that we're still importing maize in this country. My prayer is that, we need to have an agenda, national agenda, long term, that addresses those issues. On the international front, as a party and peace-loving people, we want to continue to put our solidarity with the people of Palestine. It is a tragedy once again that world leaders are watching when thousands and thousands of innocent children, mothers, women in general, are being killed in the Gaza and in Palestine as a whole. Yet many people or many leaders are quiet. America is basically an accomplice. They have been basically aiding Israel without really being very firm. I'm aware, President Biden have said that, the solution is only a two-state solution. But we believe that's too late. He is supposed to have been very firm, but also stopping arming Israel, where you have a David and Goliath situation where the weak is being destroyed. I want to take this time as well to thank the leadership of South Africa, President Ramaphosa and his cabinet for making a decision to take Israel to the International Court of Justice. We believe that African countries should have supported South Africa on that stance. And this is not an economic issue where certain countries did not take a position because they're looking for financial gains or economic gains. This is a moral issue where in the 21st century, we believe that, or certain people believe that the only solution is through war or killing people. So we are standing firm with the people of Palestine, and we support South Africa's position and the steps they've taken to ensure that at some stage, in this century, there are no wars. No one is going to be killed because a certain leader have decided, to take his country or her country to war. So I want to follow up on issues of economic development in the country. So in my next press conference, I think the main issue is that where are the jobs in Zimbabwe? Where are the youth going to get the jobs, the quality of education, the health system, the road network is too very bad. In the 60s, Chinoi, other cities in Zimbabwe were celebrating running tap water. Today, we're seeing government celebrating the drilling of boreholes or wells that are just being dug by people. Yet, water is a human right, in particular clean water. So we need to make sure that, I think as a people, let's work together to ensure that we give to opportunity the many citizens of this country. Zimbabwe, for it to be called Zimbabwe, is because of its people, not because of a few people. So these are really, for me, issues of leadership. There is a crisis of leadership, and we seem not to be getting out of the financial quagmire and all the other problems that are following the country. There are some people also who just want to create history by doing the wrong things. And I will be addressing that to say, as Zimbabweans, when we follow these leaders, are they genuine leaders or leaders who are looking for, praise and trying to build profiles on the suffering of people? So there are those issues, I think, in the next 1 month I'm going to address, so that as a people, when we decide to choose leaders, we're going to choose leaders who are authentic, who are going to remain with the people. We have done this from 1980. We can't keep on choosing people who are going to only feed their people, where basically, in Zimbabwe, like I said last time, you see more safe stations being built than clinics. That is an anomaly, and that is a tragedy. Where you see a safe station every corner, and you don't see a clinic every 5 kilometers. You don't see a clinic in Highfields. You don't see Mbare changing from what it was when Ian Smith decided to have his separatist ratio-based segregation or dwellings. So with that, I think, as I said, I wanted to just come to say we stand with the people of Palestine, and most importantly also, it's unfortunate that the country now has been thrown again into a political crisis, and we are a country of tragedies. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Supposing that the advocate, Nelson Chamisa, forms a new party, do you see him excelling, considering he failed under MDC and then also under the GOC?
Well, I think I would not be able to say whether it's going to fail or not, but I think it's just a confusion in the sense that, you can't build a house yet, then move from that house, then build another one. So you have foundations, and just as you're building it, you go and start a new foundation. As I said to you, it's a tragedy. I feel sorry for him. He's a young man. I guess, he's also learning as he grows. But certainly, we could understand there is infiltration. but also he needs to be able to make sure that he's got the solutions to the many problems I think as a political leader you would face. He needs to make sure that he answers the recalling of his MPs strongly on that. But also that shows really in terms of us being able to build institutions that can stand the test of time, that also are consistent, and making sure that your leadership is elected, your leadership is together, is very important, and that within an organization you are accepted. But as I said earlier on, it's a tragedy again in Zimbabwe. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, President. Your critics argue that you only appear during election time, disappear, and reappear again when it's election time. And also, some argue that you work closely with the ruling party in terms of the work that you are doing, that you are not authentic. I think I saw a tweet sometime last week where some of your critics were arguing that you were there on the ballot box so that you can be number one, so that Advocate Chamisa is not on top of the ballot box. Can you respond to those allegations? That's my first question, that you work with some PF and that you are not a genuine opposition leader. Then my second question would be on, don't you think this is an opportune time for you as opposition political leaders to work together in terms of ensuring that you achieve the same agenda? Coming, I understand, after your book, I've seen that you are one of the great minds that this country has in terms of bringing your ideas, and also Advocate Chamisa is, as you have said, is a young man and very popular. So don't you think that it's time that you guys come together and maybe come up with something that can prepare the next challenge in the country?
Thank you, sir. So the first question is, I resurface every elections and I disappear after the elections. I don't disappear. Thank you, Mr. Law, for asking that question. I don't disappear. That's why I'm here. Sometimes, don't prepare to fail. You must prepare to win. So what we're doing now is certainly preparing to win in 2028. I don't want to come here and give you reasons of reforms, this and that, all the time we come here. We need to say, whatever the ruling party is doing to remain in power, how can we unlock that? So certainly, I am committed to the betterment of Zimbabwe. So even if I don't speak, I do quite a lot on the ground in terms of social upliftment and so on. As I said, I'm very involved in sports. I do athletics. I do soccer with the soccer team in Division 1, and we want to make sure next year, a season when the Premier, Zimbabwe is not at AFCON. So I'm doing a lot on the ground, more than anyone else is doing, as an individual, to make sure that they, uplift people across the country. We do have by-elections in Buhera. We have a councillor who is contesting next week, on the 3rd. And we're going to win that, and I'll come and introduce you once he wins the council seat. So we are busy already trying to build, but most importantly, to be able to make sure that the Party Free Zim Congress is made up of women and men of high caliber integrity and unified in terms of our unity, in terms of having the same agenda and so on. Then the second point is, close ties with ZANU-PF. I think it's people really who have got no evidence that do have strong ties with ZANU-PF. I think I've been very consistent. In 2015, when I did a press conference when President Mugabe was still alive, I did actually say, if you find it on the internet, that I think the country needs not to worry, even President Mnangagwa needs not to worry, that there's going to be a better leader in the next elections. And I've maintained that I will be the second democratically elected president of Zimbabwe, with the will of the people being respected, come 2028. When people take shortcuts to be able to be elected, that's still not a democratic process. Then your third question was, all of us getting together. As I said to you, it's a tragedy, obviously, the decision made by Advocate Chamisa, but I guess that's the best for him. I don't have a problem advising him and working with him and working with every Zimbabwean who wants to see the best of this country. This country has got massive potential. All of you, you chose to stay in this country. You chose to do what you do because you want to be able to feed your families. You want to be able to contribute to your communities and so on. So I salute you, and that's really what I want to be able to push. But certainly we need to have the same agenda, the same principles, the same values. So those who are going to have shared vision, shared value, principle system with us as Freezim Congress, we're going to work with. So as I said, I wish him well. I'll call him to give him advice where possible. Yes, sir.
Okay, as the president, Mr.
Busha.
And as far as president of Zimbabwe, what best are you doing for the Zimbabweans in terms of they are living in poverty? You are concentrating on politics, but you are not even uplifting those people who are living in poverty. What are you doing for the people of Zimbabwe?
Thank you.
And as far as president,
Okay.
we are always talking about on political grounds, but we are leaving some people who are not even concentrating on politics, want to just live their own lives there. What are you doing best to those people?
So thank you very much for the question. So I did mention that I don't focus on politics. That's why you don't hear me much. I focus on uplifting people. I did mention that I'm involved.
What have you done for the communities?
But I'm just telling you. So I just mentioned that what is a community? So within the sports community, say soccer community, I've got a soccer team that is in Division 1, okay, in Murewa. So that's yeah. So you can't have teams everywhere. So Dynamos cannot be in Binga and in Murewa. It has to be in one area. Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Say follow up on that. I hear you are building a stadium. Maybe you can shed the light on it.
No, certainly I think we'll be able to share in terms of what we want to do. You know that Zimbabwe does not have an international stadium at international standard that our teams can play. It is also a tragedy that Dynamos and Caps had to go and play in Bulawayo, Babafield Stadium, because there's no stadium in Harare that is approved by CAF and FIFA. Rufaro Stadium is being refurbished or renovated. We're not quite sure when it is going to do so as an individual, and also to be able to make sure that we give opportunity to other people. We are building our own stadium in Murewa, so we'll be able to invite you at the start of this season coming through. We'll also take you in our bus. We've got, I think, one of the best buses for a soccer team, which I will come and take you and then show to you what we're doing. So we're doing athletics, we're doing cycling, we're doing basketball, we're doing baseball, we're doing volleyball. So it's going to be a multi-purpose facility that will have all those sporting courts. Yes, sir.
Thank you. You mentioned something about integrity or institution. I wanted to get clarification. It seems you have done successfully in business as a businessman, but there have also been issues relating to your integrity in the business community, the issues of fraud, or reports of fraud, which are in the public domain. So I wanted to find out how best can you realign to move from this situation where your integrity might be stained and establish political integrity. Do you see yourself as a person politically who has integrity when in the business community that integrity is tainted?
Well, there's no integrity tainted, there's no fraud there, so there's no evidence. I walk every single day with our bodyguard. So if you read, you need to be able to read carefully and get to understand what happened, right? Okay? So if you find somebody and somebody decided not to pay back and you win the case, where's the fraud there?
That's what I want
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. You need to be able to read, right? You need to be able to read. I'm based in South Africa. That's where my head office. I still go on TV. I'm still there. I'm still running business. So you need to be able to understand what it was the agenda, of those people who wrote those articles. I've never run away. I've said to people, if you're going to find one person who is accountable and responsible, it's me. Okay, I've never shied from answering the question. I've never ran away. I still have business in 6 countries in SADC, right? Okay, my head office in South Africa, and that's where I am. So those reports, you must read them thoroughly and go and ask some legal experts to say, what is the interpretation of this? You know, you find that, let's assume that you go to a bank, the bank gives you money to buy a house, you fail to pay for the house, you know, the bank repossesses the house, and then you blame the bank. That's what happened. How do you blame me when I did something and I won the court case? But thank you for asking that. So basically, there's no issues of integrity. You know, I have been in the business for more than 30 years. So I don't want to say much, but certainly when it comes to the financial services industry, I'm the godfather. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. My question is on what are your economic policies? What are your economic policies in relation to what is happening right now? We witnessed that the current government is more neoliberal in its policies. Their economic policies.
There's no neoliberal issue in there. It's just a capitalist system where they are sucking money out of the people. So I did mention that Professor Mtuli, as smart as he is and as he is called professor, there's no reason for him to have implemented some of the policies he did. In particular, you know, the 2% tax, you know, trying to create a Victoria Falls Stock Exchange, which is not really viable, and making sure that there's a mechanism to be able to manage the capital flows into the country. So there is no economic policy that is sustainable in Zimbabwe. I grew up seeing trucks taking raw resources out of the country. They're still doing the same right now. You know, so there's no beneficiation models. So if you cannot produce and then export, you cannot get any money, foreign currency, to support your local currency. So the Zim dollar will never be able to rise because there's no structure, management structure that will support our currency. So we're always in a trade deficit because we're importing more than we are exporting. So tell me, where would you find a country where it is number one holder of a mineral in Africa and possibly in the top 10 in the world, but you don't take advantage of that? I'm talking about lithium. We are number one holder in Africa, in the top 7 in the world, but we don't manufacture any battery. We don't export any batteries. We're not a net exporter of batteries. So we are a failed state, okay? So it's unfortunate that even the president himself, in one of the clips, I don't know how authentic it is, please don't quote me, he said, Professor Mtuli cannot even or Chibage. So certainly, whether he meant that he's not a practical man, I don't know. But certainly there are no solutions right now because we're still in the same financial problems.
So what's your answer to that as a freezing Congress?
So the answer really is beneficiation. You need to be able to make sure that with the leader in battery production, we need to make sure that if the world is moving towards EVs, electrical vehicles, we manufacture them here. That's where our young people, our young engineers can take opportunities to create a new industry and be able to flourish. So there's no way where a person who stays where there's lots of tomatoes, they'll sleep without tomatoes. There needs to be regional trade. You know, what is good in Masvingo, they produce, they send it to Mashwest and so on, so that all Zimbabweans have got enough food and there's food security in the country. So Zimbabwe has got an opportunity to make sure that unemployment rate is 98%.